Sitting in front of me here is a 2015 MacBook Pro, but it's missing one very important feature, and that's the screen. And I want to talk to you guys about why I bought a headless MacBook Pro in 2023. A headless MacBook Pro is basically a MacBook Pro with a screen that's broken. And so what they do is they take off the screen, and in my case, I took out the antennas to get better Wi-Fi, and they just use it effectively as a desktop. It's not truly a desktop because you actually use the computer itself to type and to use the cursor. It's effectively a desktop in every other sense of the word. It's not really a mobile device because you always need to have a monitor in order to be able to use it. So why did I buy it? The first reason was the cost. This is a 2015 MacBook Pro. It's got an i7, 16 gigs of RAM, and 256 gigabytes of storage. And it was only like 115 bucks. These computers are really cheap now. They're almost 10 years old, to be fair, but they're still decently reliable computers. I've had this now for over a month using it full-time as a headless computer, and I haven't had any problems with it. It's still rock solid reliable. It's a MacBook. They typically just are. So to be able to buy a device like this that's effectively an Apple TV, but so much more, for around the same price is pretty remarkable. Another thing I love about this is that since it's a MacBook and Apple ID, all my passwords are saved. Another thing I like about this a lot is that it connects to my server. So if I ever need to move files or I want to watch a specific file with my wife, I can pull it up with this and watch it on the TV. It's remarkably thin, and it's really easy to store. I have it just under my TV in its own little shelf. It's really tiny. If I had more shelves, I could just have this at the very top. It cools pretty easily. I'm never asking that much of it. My main use case for this computer is twofold. One is to dump footage. I'm a wedding videographer on the side. And so what that means is that I will come home on Saturday night with about 200 gigabytes of footage. And the best way for me to offload that is to use this computer as a way to offload all of the data onto my server. I use my MacBook Pro to edit all of my wedding videos, my main MacBook Pro that's right here, and I use this to offload and dump all the footage. So it can ingest all of my footage. There's an SD card slot, and I can use that to read all my files, put that on the server, easy peasy. It's a great way just to set it up. I don't have to think about it. It's just always there. It's always plugged in. It's always charged. There's always storage because I have a very rigid system of dumping files onto here, dumping them onto my server, deleting them off of here, and then moving on. So it's really nice not having to worry about that because when I get home, I normally want to start editing the wedding, and that means I'm going to be using my other MacBook Pro to actually edit the wedding. And this one will just be offloading all of the footage onto the server. It's not storage I necessarily have to have, but I love having that extra backup just in case something were to catastrophically happen to the other MacBook. I have another version of it saved somewhere else. I also use this with a VPN, not a sponsored video, but I do use it with a VPN. It's nice to be able to watch content from other countries just on my big TV. I don't have to fiddle around. I don't have to take up my other laptop that I use for work, that I actually do stuff on that's important. I can just leave this there. If my wife ever wants to use it, she knows how to use it. It's super duper easy. I think the biggest thing is that the cost of this is so cheap. The reality is this computer isn't going to be super powerful and replace an 8-core, 12-core desktop processor. It's not meant for that. I don't think anybody would buy that for that reason. Basically, the best part about this is that it's thin, it's cheap, it's light. You plug in, you don't have to think about it. It does have battery. The battery life isn't the best, but you don't always have to necessarily have it plugged in. And it costs basically the same amount of money as an Apple TV. And in my opinion, it's far more capable than an Apple TV because it's a full-fledged computer. It's not locked down by software like Apple's are. This is a full-fledged computer. If you want to emulate games on it, you can, which is something I've done a bunch of. And you can use it just as a full-fledged computer. So you can run and you can play probably games, and you can emulate almost any Nintendo game up until probably the Wii or something on this computer, whereas you just can't do that when you're using an Apple TV. There are obviously a few cons with this. The biggest con is going to be the Wi-Fi. This is how it has to exist outside. The Wi-Fi antennas are in here, and if you don't do this, you basically don't have Wi-Fi, so I would suggest pulling this out of your broken screen and using that as your Wi-Fi. That can easily be replaced with an Ethernet adapter, a USB type A to Ethernet adapter, or a Thunderbolt 2 to Ethernet adapter. I know everybody loves this MacBook so much because it has all the ports, but it's missing an Ethernet port. This computer is 8 years old at the time of recording this. This is 2015. So that means that there's 8 years of crap inside of it. So when you get this, you're going to have to clean it out, unless for some reason the person who owned it before you was immaculate, but I don't think most people are. So you're going to have to clean it out. It's kind of gross. It's 8 years of grossness. You got to sort of deal with that if you're getting a deal. In my case, the battery life is about 2 to 3 hours not using a charger. That's not really that bad. I use it exclusively plugged in, so it's effectively a desktop for me. It's so easy to move the computer and charger around because it's the same size as a laptop minus the screen. And finally, it's just not that easy to control, and maybe, I don't know, but there's no easy way to control and use the screen unless I were to use an external keyboard and mouse type situation. Apple TV, you could just use a controller, or you can even use an iPhone if you're using the Apple TV, whereas this, you can't do that. I would love if there was some type of trackpad app for my phone that I could use. I think that'd be really cool. Unfortunately, I don't think that exists. If it does, let me know. That's the biggest thing for me, is that I have to constantly be getting up from my chair and changing the channel if I need to change the channel. For the most part, I don't really watch that much TV. I only watch football from 1 to 4 on Sunday, but I do love this a lot. I think it was a great purchase. I'm glad I made the decision. I was thinking about just not doing it. I actually already have an Apple TV, but I like tech and I wanted to buy it and make a video on it because I think it's cool. So I think it's definitely something to look into. I think this makes a ton of sense if you were to get something this cheap, or if you were to go more expensive with like a 2019 MacBook Pro with an i9 or an i7 with a broken screen. And if you could pick that up for like $300, $400, $500, I think that would be a really good option as well, because you don't need the screen. Whenever I'm editing on my MacBook, I connect it up to a monitor anyways. I like having the screen because when I want it to be portable, it can be. But if you're trying to save a buck and you really want to get into the Mac ecosystem and you wanted something that's a little bit more powerful and you don't want to go with the M1 chips like a Mac Mini, which is probably what I would really suggest, you should consider looking into the Headless MacBook Pros. It's a weird market, it's a fun market, and I'm glad I got into it. Thank you for watching. This has been Scott with Technical Clips, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.